the Chargers get started with a new head coach against a Raiders team that got the last head coach fired. Stop asking. Stop pointing it out. Stop talking about how bad the Chargers have been. It was an embarrassment that Thursday night in December. But now Jim Harbaugh is there. The Raiders come to L.A. He's 4-0 in Week 1 games. He would tie Raymond Berry as the only coach to be 5-0 in Week 1 games. And I fully believe in Harbaugh. As nutty as he is, as big of a lunatic in a good way as he is, I think it works, and it will press the right buttons, and it will get the most out of the Chargers, especially against a team that they should be able to beat.
Yeah, I think they win this game, Mike. The thing I worry about is Justin Herbert and that foot, plantar fascia injury in his right foot. You know, he had 2 weeks where he was in the walking boot, but I'm not so sure. He wouldn't talk a lot about it this week. I'm not so sure that thing's not going to linger all season, and he'll have to manage it and probably play through a little bit of pain. I hope not. I hope he's 100% the whole entire year, but it's just something that we have to watch and see how he's going to perform with the foot after missing time in camp the way he did.
He was off the injury report on Wednesday completely, created the impression everything's fine. And then we find out Thursday he's back on because the league told the Chargers, you got to put him back on. So, look, I didn't know they'd already hired Connor Stallions to work in the training staff with the LA Chargers, but here we are. Okay, I'm kidding. I think I'm kidding. But look, the injury report's already worthless. But if you got a guy who's getting active treatment on the foot, and I'm sure that's what it came down to, well, he fully participated in practice, so we don't put him on the report. But if he's getting active treatment on it still, even if he fully participates, you list him as having the injury and that he fully participated in practice. It's not that complicated. All right. It's not that complicated in Pittsburgh. You play great defense, you have a running game, and you hope you get something out of your quarterbacks. That formula made the Steelers confident that Russell Wilson should be the starter. They take on the Falcons on Sunday. The problem is Wilson was legitimately off the injury report on Wednesday. He was fine. The calf injury that he suffered to start training camp had healed. On Thursday, Mike Tomlin, Steelers head coach, said that Russ felt tightness, so he was limited in practice, and now all of a sudden it's up in the air as to whether or not it will be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields at quarterback when the Steelers visit Atlanta. Charean.
Well, another injury, I think, Mike, you're going to have to watch the whole entire year. We don't even know if he's going to play this week. We'll find out today what his status is when they put out their status report. Mike
questionable.
Tomlin,
questionable. I suspect it'll be questionable.
Probably be questionable, but we could see Justin Fields. There's no question about that. But another lingering injury that just a soft tissue injury that you worry about lingering for a while. I mean, he had that early in training camp, and now it's popped back up again. So something again that these Steelers are going to have to watch the whole entire season. These players change position. I almost said the Broncos, like you get used to them with one team and then they change teams, and you really got to think about which team are they with now.
As we age, those tendons and ligaments and muscles rebel against dramatic application of forces to them. And that's what happened to Aaron Rodgers last year. He had a calf injury early in camp before it became the Achilles tear, and who knows if there's any connection between the two. And you've got Russell Wilson now with this chronic problem. And whether it's a hamstring, a calf, it needs time, and you think it's healed, and then something happens. It grabs. You feel that grab. I've had both. I've had calf and hamstring. And hey, I'm fine. Wait a minute. I thought I was fine. Why am I not fine? And that may be where Russell Wilson is right now. Okay, Cowboys at the Browns. If you haven't heard, it's the Tom Brady broadcasting debut. Historic. Gus Johnson told me last week while I was watching the Mountaineers get embarrassed by Penn State. More importantly, the Cowboys, 12-5 each of the last 2 years. The Browns led the NFL in total defense. They had enough from comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco, to make it to the playoffs and look like they were potentially going to go on a run until the Texans got in the way. This is an intriguing game. Sims and I disagreed on this one. I could see it going either way, Charean. Your Cowboys going to Cleveland to take on a pretty good team, but a lot of questions about what the Cowboys are, who they're going to be. And you talked about the running game earlier. CeeDee Lamb had the holdout. Dak Prescott's contract is still hovering over everything and creating a distraction. This is a tough test for the Cowboys to get things started.
It is 12 wins over the last 3 seasons the Cowboys have had. That's the second most wins in the NFL behind the Chiefs. They've been very good in the regular season. Obviously, just haven't gotten it done in the postseason. I think the Browns win this game. I do. And the interesting matchup to me is Tyler Guyton at left tackle, who was very good in the preseason, rookie first-round draft pick going against Myles Garrett. And they do move Myles Garrett around, but I think he's primarily going to be lined up over that rookie at left tackle. And that's going to be the key matchup. And how much help does Tyler Guyton have to have? To me, the real question is, Mike, does Dak Prescott get his contract before the season opened? He seemed to indicate last week that his deadline, his personal deadline, was the start of the season. I don't think it's going to happen. People I've heard from and talked to within the organization and elsewhere seem to indicate that this may not be as close. They're making progress, but maybe not as close as they want it to be. So if he doesn't get his contract by Sunday, Mike, I think he's headed to free agency. I don't think there's any chance that he agrees to a deal during the regular season.
What a shock that there would be reports leaked by the Cowboys that maybe there's going to be a deal, or just feigning progress just so people will talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We need to remember we're being grifted to a certain extent by Jerry Jones. Step right up, folks. Pay attention to the Cowboys. Give us your money. Give us your time. Give us your emotions. Give us anything and everything you will, and we'll worry about whether or not we actually deliver on any of our various promises at a later date. That pretty much sums up the last 30 years of the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.